Hi, my friends. I miss you guys. I thought I would read a story today called The Best Nest because it's springtime and the birds are out and chirping and there's so many things to look at. So this is called The Best Nest. Mr. Bird was happy. He was so happy he had to sing. This was Mr. Bird's song. I love my house, I love my nest, in all the world my nest is best. Then Mrs. Bird came out of the house. It's not the best nest, she said. I'm tired of this old place, said Mrs. Bird. I hate it. Let's look for a new place right now. So they left the old place to look for a new one. This place looks nice, said Mr. Bird. Let's move in here. They're going to go in the hole in the tree. But somebody else had already moved in. Is that a raccoon?
Yeah, that's a raccoon.
So they looked at another house. This one looks nice, said Mr. Bird, and there's nobody in it. It's just the giant shoe. You're wrong, said Mrs. Bird. This house belongs to a foot. So they went on looking. I like this one, said Mr. Bird. It has a pretty red flag on the roof. I've always wanted a house with a flag, said Mrs. Bird. Maybe this place will be all right. But it's, what, a mailbox, right?
Yeah, that's a
But
mailbox.
it was not all right. I guess I made a mistake, said Mr. Bird. You make too many mistakes, said Mrs. Bird. I'm going to pick the next house, and here it is, right here. It's in here. It's called a bell tower in the church. They flew in and looked around. Isn't it too big? Asked Mr. Bird. I like this place, said Mrs. Bird. This is the place to build our new nest. They went right to work. They needed many things to build their nest. First, they got some hay. They got some soda straws, some broom straws. They got some sweater string. They got some stocking string and mattress stuffing. That's a good idea. They got some horsehair. They got some man hair. Soon they had all the hay, all the straw, all the string, all the stuffing, all the horsehair, and all the man hair they could carry. They took it all back to build their nest.
Man hair.
Mr. and Mrs. Bird worked very hard. It took them the rest of the morning to finish their nest. This nest is really the best, said Mrs. Bird. I want to stay here forever. Mr. Bird was very happy too. He flew to the top of his house. He sang his song again. I love our house, I love our nest, in all the world our nest is best. He was so busy singing he didn't see Mr. Parker coming. Where do you think Mr. Parker's going?
Uh-oh.
Every day at 12 o'clock, Mr. Parker came to the church. Mr. Parker came to pull a rope. The rope went up to the bird's new nest.
Oh no, what's gonna happen?
The rope rang the big bell right under Mrs. Bird's nest. Boing, bong, bong. Mrs. Bird got out of there as fast as she could fly. Bong, 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 bong. When Mr. Bird came in, all he could see was a mess of hay and string and stuffing and horsehair and man hair and straws. Where was Mrs. Bird? I will look for her until I find her, said Mr. Bird. He looked high, he looked low, he looked everywhere for Mrs. Bird. He looked down into a chimney, but Mrs. Bird wasn't there. He looked down into a water barrel, but Mrs. Bird wasn't there. Then he saw a big fat cat. There was a big fat smile on the fat cat's face. There were some pretty brown feathers near the fat cat's mouth. Oh no! Mr. Bird began to cry. Oh dear! He cried. This big fat cat has eaten Mrs. Bird. Mr. Bird flew off. I'll never see Mrs. Bird again, he cried. It was getting dark. It began to rain. It rained harder and harder. Mr. Bird could not see where he was going. Crash! Mr. Bird bumped into something. It was his old house. That old house that Mrs. Bird hated. I'll go inside, said Mr. Bird. I'll rest here until the rain stops. Mr. Bird went in, and there was Mrs. Bird sitting there singing. I love my house, I love my nest, in all the world this nest is best. You, here, gasped Mr. Bird. I thought you hated this old nest. Mrs. Bird smiled. I used to hate it, she said, but a mother bird can change her mind, you see. Here she has an egg. There's no nest like an old nest for a brand new bird. And when the egg popped open, the new bird thought so too. Aww.
Oh, look at that.
The end. I hope you guys enjoyed that story as much as I did. I wanted to share with you something that I found last year. It's a bird's nest, and I didn't take it from birds that were using it. It was up in our tree, and when the birds leave it for the season, it just sits there. They don't usually come back to it. But you can see some of the things that they use to make it. There's even a small acorn. There's some sticks, dried up grass, and
those.
even inside. You see all that mud?
Yeah, that's. Oh, whoops. That's probably to hold like the structure of it.
Some moss. So it's kind of falling apart, but that's okay. Here's the underneath. Some more mud they used to put it together. So I thought what would be fun, if you had some material like this netting. I just got this from our ham, but you can use that mesh ribbon or something you get at the craft store. And you can put things in there that you think birds will make a nest with. So I have some string, some straws, some grass, and twigs. And you could even put some hair in there if you have it from a hairbrush or something, because they actually use that. And then, I'll stick this little long. You would fold it up and wrap it and tie it, and you can hang it in a tree somewhere. So the birds can come along and it would be easy for them to grab something out and build their nest. After you hang it up, maybe in a week or so, you can go back and see what's missing, and then you'll know if the birds use what you picked to build a nest.
And maybe you can even see it in one of your trees if they don't take it too far.
So let me know if you do try to do that and how it works out. I miss you all. Bye-bye.
Bye.